and other activities beside equipping the students with moral and human values and have produced students who are spread globally. Being highly professional, principled, disciplined, and spiritual, he expected the same from the staff and students. His indomitable spirit had been a constant inspiration. His generosity knew no bounds. Besides being a great educationist, he was a great philanthropist, extending his help and to the needy. During my association with Sir, I have observed and learned the way of functioning. He is a highly disciplined man and has a great gift of instinct to notice the flaws. This made him to overcome many disciplinary and other issues. He is blessed with a very good memory power, which helped him in functioning, checking, and achieving highest goal in working of the institutions. The guiding star and our mentor, Mr. U. Gregory Reddy, took the plunge, tided over difficult ways of hardship, and swam gleefully towards the success. He dreamt, risked, and took care, and the result is par excellence. Today he stands like a lighthouse, a shining example for perseverance and strength. He is one of the rare kind that God has made. As we pay tributes to Mr. U. Gregory Reddy, we, the members of St. Joseph's Education Society, would also like to pay our tributes to all other dear departed members of St. Joseph's Education Society. To mention Mr. K.S. Reddy, Mr. UDR Reddy, Mr. P. Balashauraya, Reverend Father M. Dhanaraju, Srimati U. Aragyamma, and Mr. U. Prakash Reddy. Their support and guidance to Mr. U. Gregory Reddy is noteworthy. May their soul rest in peace. Dear Sir, your cheerful face, loving gesture, and unfading smile can never be forgotten. The fragrance of your service still lingers through. May God grant eternal bliss. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for taking us down memory lane and giving us the life history of U.G. Reddy, sir. There are some who bring lights so great to the world that even after they're gone, the light remains. Now I call upon baby Mary Teresa, Member Governing Council, to pay her tribute. Miss Baby Mary Teresa.
Good evening. A life well lived is measured by those moments when you give yourself more than you think you can give. Respected President Mr. L. Sliva Reddy, Honorable Secretary Sir Shri U. Balakishore Reddy, esteemed members of St. Joseph's Education Society, Hyderabad, family members of Shri U. Gregory Reddy Sir, special invitees, close associates, and well-wishers of Shri U.G. Reddy Sir, and members of staff. We are gathered here this evening in memory of our dear Sir, Shri U. Gregory Reddy, a man whose success lies in his smile and silence. A celebration of life event is one way to honor the loved one after they depart. On behalf of the staff working in the institutions under the management of St. Joseph's Education Society, Hyderabad, I am honored to stand before this august gathering to pay tributes to our beloved Secretary and Principal, late Shri U.G. Reddy Sir. Shri U.G. Reddy, a towering symbol and an epitome of hard work and perseverance, had embarked on a humble journey as a teacher. He carried forward the noble task of educating the young minds by establishing St. Joseph's Education Society in the year 1970. Over the years, he started number of schools: St. Anthony's High School, Himayatnagar; St. Joseph's Public School, Kinkoti; St. Joseph's School, Hapsiguda; St. Joseph's School, Asmangat Palace; St. Joseph's High School, Kinkoti; St. Mary's High School, Himayatnagar; and Queen Mary's Junior College for Girls, Himayatnagar. Under his able guidance, all the schools flourished, preparing the students to face the challenges of the world. Shri U.G. Reddy sir, an eminent educationist, was a visionary par excellence. A meticulous planner with an unbound determination and hard work had steered the institutions under the management to pinnacle of success for over 50 years. His philosophy that no child should be deprived of education drew children to his magnificent institutions in large numbers. At present, there are about 12,000 students and about 600 staff members working in his institutions. His vision in molding the students, his readiness to provide facilities, his broad outlook to incorporate modern methods into teaching process has resulted in maintaining a unique standard in all his schools. In order to bring out cooperation and coordination among all the ICSE schools in erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, Shri U.G. Reddy sir started the Association of ICSE and ISE Schools in the year 1997 and St. Joseph's Public School, Kinkoti, as its registered office. His relentless efforts as a secretary for over 15 years in bringing all the ICSE and ISE schools together has made the regional association a strong body. Through the regional association, the students get a wonderful opportunity to prove their talents and skills in sports and literary activities. And a simple example of his magnanimity was the donation of 1 acre land in Hapsiguda for the construction of regional office for the council in South India. Shri U.G. Reddy sir always had a vision of empowering students with leadership qualities. When he became the Secretary for UN Council for Andhra Pradesh, he shouldered the responsibility of organizing and conducting various programs, including UN Day celebration on 24th October. Time and again, Sir proved that in order to make one's dream come to reality, one needs to put in a lot of determination, self-discipline, and hard work. He was a man with highest genius who translated his vision of imparting value-based quality education. He was conferred with prestigious awards for his contribution in the field of education. To mention a few, Sir was bestowed with Jewel of India Award by the National Institute of Human Resource Development for the outstanding contribution for the cause of education, human enrichment, and world peace. He was also felicitated by the Deccan Chronicle in its program, Guruji, We Love You, in the year 2010. The ICSE Council, New Delhi, confirmed Father George Hess's Excellence Award on him for his dedication and unstinted contribution to the cause of education, and our beloved Sir was the first recipient of this prestigious award. Late Shri U.G. Reddy, founder and secretary of St. Joseph's Education Society, Hyderabad, was a great educationist who sacrificed much and dedicated every moment of his life guiding his teachers and students. The society, under his guidance, had strived for excellence in academics, sports, literary, cultural, and other activities, besides equipping the students with moral and human values. The society always created an atmosphere congenial for the progress of everyone associated with it. It has also progressed technologically and has been in sync with the changing trends in the field of education. To mention a few, introduction of school parliament, first ever in the Twin Cities, to inculcate leadership qualities and mold them into responsible citizens. Another noteworthy project taken up by the society under Sir's leadership was a student exchange program with schools of Europe and USA, including visit to NASA. Society also introduced various club activities, including the Echo Club and Nakshatra, for tapping the innate talents of the young minds. Introduction of NCC in the schools made students aware of their responsibility towards their motherland. Society is always in the forefront in promoting arts and cultural unity among the students. Annual cultural festival conducted every year with great pomp, wherein hundreds of students participated in various events. Management has also introduced student-parent counseling programs to help the students to overcome learning disabilities and other behavioral problems. The society had contributed its might to promote religious faith by conducting divine healing conventions for 10 consecutive years. Society has done a lot of charitable works for the Christian minority communities through St. Joseph's Social Service Society, Hyderabad. It has also contributed to churches, religious homes, and homes for disabled, dying and destitute, and other charitable organizations. This day is really solemn and serene as it takes us all down the memory lane related to our beloved Sir. It touches the hearts of all of us with tears of gratitude for him, as he has won the hearts of everyone present here. A treasure house of wisdom and knowledge, an excellent administrator, and an exceptional visionary, is a paradigm to be emulated and our inspiration always. Direction, dedication, determination, and devotion were the deadlines for him throughout his journey of achievements. His consideration, courtesy, politeness, thoughtfulness, industry, and caring attitude are to be appreciated. His simplicity and humility are admirable. His systematic approach to things and his emphasis on punctuality made working with him a pleasant experience. We appreciate all that he did for the teachers and students community, and we will fondly remember the time spent with him. The dust falls and the dawn begins, but life goes on. But the years of association with our dear Sir will be the most treasured memory for most of us, and it will be carried with us forever. His monumental courage and his indomitable spirit has been a constant inspiration to all of us. He was a guiding light, and now he is our guiding star. The legacy that he left behind will always speak for the kind of person he was. Gone from our sight, but never from our thoughts, he was a godly man, and his soul deserves only the best place in heaven. He is no more with us, but he will always be watching and guiding us from above. Dear Sir, You are always in our thoughts and our prayers. May God grant you eternal rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for giving all the details. Sir's achievements were par excellence. We all believe that death is not the end, but the beginning of eternal life. We will live for 100 years on this earth, but we will enjoy eternal life with God Almighty. Now I invite Ms. Teresa, Principal of St. Joseph's School, Hapsiguda, to come and pay her tribute. Mrs. Teresa, Principal of St. Joseph's School, Hapsiguda.
Good evening to one and all. So she calls me principal, but here I would like to talk as a family member more than, no need. So I am...
Excuse me, I stand corrected. She is the third daughter of Shri U.G. Reddy sir. Not the principal at the moment, but the third daughter of Shri U.G. Reddy sir.
Right. So exactly 1 year before, on the day of funeral, I was sharing some thoughts on behalf of the family. I would like to once again tell how Daddy has inspired our lives. The first thing I always admire and adore him is for his life of prayer. The fear of God that he had and that he instilled in us. It's not that he only prayed, but he made sure that after we all had a cup of coffee in the morning, we all had to sit together as a family for the prayer. If we were late, he wouldn't agree. So time discipline, prayer discipline was a must in the house. So we always hear about sir. Everyone tells that he's a man of discipline, dedication and all. Yeah, discipline even at home. It's not that he didn't leave us free. So he always made it a point that we all sat for the prayer and together we prayed as a family. And the first thing he did was he would wake us up at 5 o'clock. That was too harsh, we felt, in those days. We felt, why should he be so harsh? Even my friends' parents don't do this. Why should he wake us up so early and trouble us to go for a walk to Indira Park? It was such a torture for us, even in winter. Okay, if it was a heavy rain, I can understand. I mean, that day we were free from that. So otherwise, we had to get up, go for a walk, finish a cup of coffee and sit for prayer. So these two things which I'm telling you have instilled a lot of discipline in us and fear of God. We have learned to get up early in the morning, to sit in the presence of God, asking him wisdom, like how sir and daddy was running the institutions. We are nothing before him, but by God's grace and all the things that he has instilled in us, we are able to pray, ask God for his wisdom and move ahead in life. I can tell you, it's one of the best thing I learned, we have learned from him. The next thing is we all had to go in time wherever we went, be it school, college, whatever. So being the youngest in the family, I heard my elder brothers and sisters telling me, you know, daddy started his life on a bicycle, okay. But then when he got the car or when we had our own house, he was always the same. Never found any change in him. He was always humble and he always remained the same. Sometimes what happens when riches increase, people set their heart on the riches. But it was not so with daddy. So when we see him, we understand that today money will be there. Tomorrow don't know whether it will be there or not. So don't set your heart on those things. Keep working hard. Be disciplined. Trust God. What we need, God gives us at the right time. So that is what we have learned from him. So when riches increase, he never set his heart on that. As you all know, whenever he bought a new suit or he was gifted a new grey color suits, which you always see in the photographs. He would take 2 from the almirah and give it away to the orphanage or the home for the aged. So we observed that, okay, when you get something new, you can always share with those who don't have. His kind heart, his compassionate heart touched us. Not that he had money, so would spend in a luxurious life, not bothering about others. The best thing we learned from him was, yeah, when you have enough, when God has blessed you, be a blessing to others. That is what we have as a family learned from him. And when we see all the staff, students, all the people working in the institutions, we feel so privileged, so proud that because of this one daddy, this our one sir, so many have got such nice livelihood, the pay scales he has been giving. So we've been observing him from my degree. I've been observing wonderful things in him, and I have learned to practice those. The next thing, I told you he was a man of prayer. Holier, the hands which help are holier than the lips that pray. So apart from praying, he also helped people. He had that helping nature, as I told you. I saw him giving education to many people from the villages who came for help. He said, don't give them money or the best property or the best thing that you can give to your children is education. So he always says, educate them, they will stand on their own feet and they will do well in life. They'll achieve things on their own. So he believed in that self-discipline. And that is one more point I have seen in him is to give education, whatever it is, whatever you give or not, give education so that children will stand on their own feet. Coming to him, we have seen perseverance. I've seen him go through so many problems when he was running the school. So many times, so many ups and downs were there. So many rough times were there. But he always prayed and just with determination, he overcame every problem. He had to move to courts, he had to move here, there. But what we saw is everything he stood boldly, courageously, and bravely he fought every problem and he won over it. God was always with him because of his love, because Daddy loved God. He prayed and with God's help he moved forward. So whatever he did, his favor was, God's favor was upon Sir. So these are the wonderful things that we as a family have learned from him and that he has instilled in us. Even family had to live a disciplined life, which of course was tough those days, but we love it now because discipline is so important. And we keep telling our children, you know, this is our daddy has brought us up and you should be like this. Not living extravagantly and, you know, wasting on money on many things or whatever. But first be self-disciplined, have the heart like him to help people. And when we talk about great people like my father or like our sir, we should try to learn something from them and emulate them, imitate the best qualities in them. So we as a family, we want to take his vision forward and live whatever vision he had. We want to live that vision. We want to extend it. I close with this, telling you that when we had the desire to open one branch, it was so tough. But seeing him open so many branches, we said, let's try, and we opened a branch at Vanasthalipuram together. And I can tell you it's only by his name, fame, and God's grace, we got 1,070 admissions in the first year. I think that needs a big round of applause. It's all for Sir, his dedication, his name, his fame, and above all, God's blessings. So we thank Daddy, and he will always remain in our hearts and in the works we do. Thank you for this opportunity to share these few things about Daddy. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Ms. Teresa, for sharing those nostalgic memories with Sir. We are so glad to see all the qualities among the family members. All his children possess the great qualities that he had. Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal. As long as there is love, there is no true loss. Now I request Mr. Lakshmi Narasimha Rao, Chairman of Chalimeda Anand Rao Institute of Medical Science, an ex-student of St. Anthony's High School, and also the President of the St. Anthony's Alumni, to pay his tribute.
President of St. Joseph Educational Society, Mr. Reddy garu, Secretary Shri U. Reddy garu, family members of U. Gregory sir, other distinguished guests here, staff and my fellow students. Speaking, I think all of them are well prepared to talk on the occasion. It is very difficult to talk on such kind of occasions. I felt, we should share some memories what I had experienced with Reddy sir 45 years before when I joined in the school. Though my stint in this school was very short, it was very sweet. My learning in this particular school was very memorable, and this particular school has changed my life because I studied my primary school in Karimnagar at St. John's English Medium High School. Later I joined in People's High School and came back and joined in 9th and 10th in this particular school. So I could feel the difference of overall personality development as this school is concerned. Sir did amazing things and set up institutions of excellence and have inspired generations of his students to think positively. He was so meticulous. Once happened to sit in front of him during a cultural event, before cultural event, he was going through every minute details, right from headlines, St. Joseph's Educational Society to date and every portion, like every event, the timing, how many minutes it goes. I was wondering why sir is really bothered. There are so many people to take care of this. But he never left any small thing for any other person until unless he has satisfied himself. He never allowed anybody else to do that. He wanted everything picture perfect. That's how his life was. So it was like a bitter pill swallowing when we were in school. Because every progress card, whenever we used to get one red line, we used to give one caning. So definitely 3-4 canes we used to get, and we used to curse him very badly. So that was like a very, very bitter pill. When you really get ill and when you swallow it, you don't know the importance of that pill. Once it acts on your body, and once you get better, then you feel the sweetness of it. So when we felt sweetness after leaving this particular school, and when we really came into practical life, we thought, oh, what's that particular bitter pill has changed our lives. It was for good, which we did not realize. So that was the strength of Reddy sir, and me, there was a saying, I recollect one Nelson, what is the difference between poverty and prosperity? There is a very thin line which separates between poverty and prosperity. That is called education. Reddy sir, once I recollect Nelson Mandela saying, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. That is what Reddy sir believed in. He chose that particular profession, And he guided so many students into this practical world. Our students are spread over across the globe. You go anywhere, you find a St. Anthony. I think St. Joseph's came much later, then public school, then junior college, one of the top sought out junior colleges when we were in the 1980s. So getting a seat itself was very difficult. So Reddy sir was so dedicated to education and his profession. As long as he was alive, I used to quote him many times. He is the living example. If a person is dedicated to one particular profession, I think he can do miracles. From nowhere to he has become one of the top education institutions in this particular state. That is the status of his dedication which has taken this particular institution to that level. I think if I recollect, I think the strength was 16, 17,000 or 18,000. That was the strength what he has taken from one or two students which he started in his house. So that shows the dedication of this particular Reddy sir. We were inspired. We realized our sad, what do you call, like moments when we were in school, and we savored that sweetness when we are out of school. So this particular thing, what I am privileged and proud to follow the footsteps of Reddy sir. Two particular inspiring personalities in my life. One is my father, who was born on September 2nd, 1930. Who is 92 years old right now. He highly principled and very hardworking like Reddy sir. And Reddy sir, who was born on 3rd September 1932. So next day, after my father's second and third, both of them were very strict, very good, as I recollect that Teresa was telling, very strict. My father also used to go to Indira Park. He always used to push us. So I think they are like that, who is born in September. I don't know about others, but two inspiring people who really inspired us, and me, I love to follow in their footsteps. This Reddy sir has taken this particular St. Joseph Education Center, especially in St. Anthony's. It was an household name across now we have to call, we used to call Hyderabad, which was all around here. Now Hyderabad has grown in leaps and bounds. Now we cannot say this as a old city, or I don't know what we should call. That getting into St. Anthony's was a very tough, getting admission was a very tough job, in fact. So our parents used to struggle to get into it, and somehow we are lucky to come into this particular thing. He was so meticulous, like every annual day, he gave ample opportunity for every student to showcase his sports talent and cultural events also. And after every cultural event, he used to sit and take one photograph, which we used to really cherish by seeing now. We didn't realize when it was that particular time. We, as seeing Reddy sir, after starting a medical college at Karimnagar, I emulate the same thing what he did, and I am also a bitter pill to most of my students. They curse me. My daughter was also in my own college. She used to call me and say that everywhere they write all nonsense about you. I said, I am happy because I am working. So if people are cursing me, I am working. Parents should be happy for that. So I don't bother about it, you just ignore. That's how she used to tell me that. So that inspiration came from Reddy sir. His photograph, I called him as a chief guest to my college. His photograph is still there on my display, because I don't feel like taking it out. That is framed, and that is just behind my seat in my office. So that is the personality from where he has come from, a small place from Warangal, and he has become a very big known education in this particular state. Not only state, I think even in country, ICSE, he has been office bearer of ICSE. I owe it to Reddy sir, whatever I am today, and most of my colleagues and friends are today. I think first batch, Shiv Shankar Reddy was IG. I think my friend who is Principal Commissioner Income Tax now, I think one of the DCPs, IPS of the Ramesh Reddy is here, who is also Deputy Commissioner of Police. Likewise, many people who studied in this particular college, school, and I also studied in St. Joseph Junior College. So we are into different walks of life who are very successful. Thanks to all the teachers also who are there. And I owe it to you, sir, for the teaching us the value of commitment and letting us know the power of passion and how the results of every positive action can change the course of the poor and the deserving and above all the discipline. Reddy sir was, somebody was talking about money, Teresa, I think. Reddy sir was so passionate and he had so human touch. When he used to exempt fees for most of the poorest of the poor people who could not afford. It was not so rigid. And whenever we used to join, he used to ask for donation, which was really used for the school purpose. His favorite was 2 small articles or 1 big article. 2 small articles for fans and 1 big article was for Almara. That was also which was going for school purpose and for the utility of the students only, for the comfort of the students. So it was so simple. I recollect in '84 when he brought all the students to Bangalore. He has to cut short his trip and come back to attend one of the annual days of St. Joseph Public School. His flight ticket was not getting confirmed. It was on wait list. He was desperate to go. I said, why not we upgrade to executive class? By paying, it was only 50 rupees at that time. He was ignorant. Why I am telling you this is, he was ignorant of even executive class. He asked me, will they give executive class to us? I said, if we pay 50 rupees, they'll give it to us. He was so involved in his activity, he was not even exposed to the rest of the world. That was his commitment to this particular profession. So we upgraded, and I took him, we wanted to go on taxi. I said, no, sir, because we are students, money was very important for us. I said, no, sir, I'll drop on scooter. With great fear, he sat behind me and I dropped him at the airport, and he came and back and attended. I recollect one more thing. The teenage smartness, once I was showing my teenage smartness in front of him in school. He said, Mr. Lakshmi Narasimha, you may act smart, but if you have a lakh of rupees today, if somebody robs you that money, I think you will be left with penniless. If you possess knowledge, if you study well and if you possess knowledge, nobody on this earth can rob you from that. That one thing really inspired me. Though I was not very good at school, but subsequently I fell for education and have started an education life and still continuing. After 6 years, I am still with students, of teenagers. So, sir, wherever he is, we remember him. Every day I see him in my office, and we cherish all the discipline which he has inculcated into our lives. So we remember him, and 1 year has passed so fast. I think he lived his life for 18 years. Life and death is not in our hands. Whatever Almighty, He fixes us. Wherever He gives us life, and whenever He wants, He takes us. Nothing is in our hands. We have got no option for that. He has served His purpose of educating this particular mankind, which was, and He used that particular powerful weapon in His career and educated so many people. And I wish wherever He is, His blessings are always with us, and we cherish the memories what we have during our interaction. And I was also like a family member, because Lourdes was my classmate, and right from 1977, 78 or 76, 77 when I entered, till moment, almost 45, 50 years, I'm still with the family. I'm in contact with the family, especially Balkishore Reddy. So wherever you are, sir, your blessings are with us, and I'm sure St. Joseph Educational Society, under the able guidance of its children, will move forward, and His blessings are always with us and will be with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the thought-provoking message. And very rightly said, Sir's students are globally placed and flourishing well. In the book of John, chapter 14, verses 2 and 3, the word says, "In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I'm going there to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am." Now I call upon Mr. Ramesh Reddy, Joint Commissioner of Police, HFAC, DCP East Zone, Hyderabad, and also an ex-student of St. Anthony's High School, to voice his thoughts. We are privileged to have you, sir. I call upon Mr. Ramesh Reddy, Joint Commissioner of Police.
Distinguished gathering, let me first begin with paying my homage to late Udumula Gregory Reddy garu. He has been a mentor, a philosopher, and like a father figure to me. 35 years ago, I passed out from the portals of this institution, and we still maintain the same kind of relations with my colleagues, the family. Family members are also, they were also my classmates, either seniors, juniors. I still remember the day he passed away. Just a few days before I went to home and took some pictures with him. He was gasping for breath. Throughout we had followed him. But now, let me not call it as a first death anniversary. Let's call it as a rebirth. He has taken birth in heaven. He is with God now. So it is his first birthday in heaven. He was such a loving personality. My brother Lakshman Rao garu gave a lot of great account of how Shri Reddy garu conducted the institution. Let me not repeat all those things. But he was a man of compassion and keenness to details. He used to come at 5:45 to our hostel to check whether everybody was there on the PT ground. And every evening, again, post-dinner, we used to have a study period in the hostel. He used to again check on us whether we are all studying or not. That was a kind of follow-up. Because our parents left him in his custody, and he felt it that it was his responsibility as a parent, as a loco parent, to take care of us. And that's how we have been shaped here. The earliest batches I heard had very tough time dealing with sir, because he used to have a cane. But as we progressed into a high school, we never had that kind of corporal punishment. But he used to mildly advise us about the pros and cons of our future, as to how we should conduct our life, how we should maintain our credibility, the value system, and also the character. That is how we mend our ways. Of course, there were teachers who carried on the legacy, and we, even up to the class 10th, we had punishment with scale on our knuckles. Those were the days. These days, it's impossible to even admonish a child. It is the parents again coming back and admonishing the parents, or quarreling with the parents. Total turnaround. So because of this thing, the youth today have completely gone out of control. Parents are unable to control the children. Recently, you must have heard of one incident about a month ago. The Jubilee Hills minor rape case. The minors were allowed, and you see what has happened. About a week ago, another such incident happened in LB Nagar. A minor girl was not allowed and the particular place was ransacked by that girl's friends. 30 of them came there, ransacked it, beat up the customers. So this is the aberrant behavior in the youth these days. And we cannot really go and find out what is the root cause. There are several reasons for this. And schools are definitely not to blame, because long ago schools have lost that control with corporal punishment. Students have become very, very defiant, and especially with the 2-year COVID period, we have seen so many videos of how students are talking very indifferently. And recently, we have seen some videos of students who have failed 10th class in Andhra Pradesh, how they were exercising their right. They were saying we were not taught well in 8th and 9th classes, and how can we pass 10th? How can they not give us 2 marks, 3 marks, 4 marks? Those were the demands. They were even threatening that we will see the end. So, I mean, our times and these times absolutely cannot be compared with. And we miss Shri U.G. Reddy sir very, very fondly. He was such a loving personality. I remember having spent a lovely time along with him in late Prakashana's house during the housewarming ceremony. That was the last best memory that I have with him. After that, he fell ill, and then I used to frequently visit him, but he was never recognizing me, my face nor my voice. But we were always concerned. And then the day came, finally, he had to depart us. But he still lives in our hearts, in our memories forever. The seeds that he has sown in the form of St. Joseph's Education Society, the students are world over. And let me also inform you that Justice P.S. Narasimha, who is right now elevated as the judge in the Supreme Court, from the bar to the bench, he was a student of the first batch. He was the batchmate of Mr. Shivashankar Reddy, and sir also. So I spoke to him about a month ago and told him that I am an ex-student of St. Anthony's. We would be very happy to felicitate you, sir, whenever you come to Hyderabad. He very well agreed. I communicated the same thing to Mr. Shivashankar Reddy and also Mr. Rajavardhan Reddy, who happens to be my uncle, the first batch. And let me also share with you, Mr. P.S. Narasimha would be the future Chief Justice of India also. So this institution, St. Anthony's High School, St. Joseph Education Institution, will be very proud to say that on its rolls, one of its students, who was also on the stage, Ravindra Bharati cultural program that Lakshmanana was referring to, he was also there along with other students. I have that picture. I shared it with him. He was so happy seeing it. He said he will come. So next time, family will felicitate him, the future Chief Justice of India. So having said this, thank you very much for all the dignitaries, the teachers and the family members who all have gathered here for this prayer meeting. Once again, I offer my sincere and heartfelt prayers to the memory of Shri U.G. Reddy. Amen.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your precious moments with us and also for sparing time to come and grace the occasion. I know you're all patiently waiting. The program is delayed slightly, but we have the last tribute, and I call upon Mrs. Sharda, a senior assistant from St. Anthony's High School and also an ex-student of the same school, Mrs. Sharda, to pay her tribute.
Good evening, one and all. So, many are born daily, and so many leave this world. It is only a handful who leave behind a legacy for generations to use, remember, talk about, and inspired. Dear friends and well-wishers, Sir left us a year back, but today we only miss his physical presence, but his presence through his work shall continue to guide, inspire, and interest us. 1 year back, there were many who were skeptical of many institutions that he built and whether they shall sustain after him. But today, we find that the foundations that he laid are far strong and continuing to guide the current leadership team to manage the affairs professionally and take it to new glorious future. Coming to my feelings, sir, we miss you and your physical display of charm and warmth, but never can you be far away from our thoughts. In the abode of Lord, you shine and you guide us here every day. You were an epitome of discipline, passion, perseverance, entrepreneurial skills. Your empathy and support for the poor students and the parents was well known. You were a cult, and your goodwill continues to keep the institutions alive and rocking. Your spirituality, simplicity, and humble living is an example for all of us to imbibe. As secretary and principal, the standards that you set were so high that others in your footsteps will find it challenging and may need to have the qualities to inspire a new generation of kids who are fiercely competitive and are academically and financially far more strong. I shall fail in my duties if I don't record. My daughter Shri, who is a product of our school, appears to be amongst the top rankers in the state in her college and in the board of intermediate exam this year. And a good portion of the credit goes to the school and to some of her teachers. And you, who stood by her, guided her, and encouraged her even during some testing times at school. Sir, today personally we miss you more than a year back, and our celebration is so dull in your absence. Thank you, sir, for being an inspiring personality, and hope the institutions that you built grows in stature and is a good fit for the teachers and with great academic and personal qualities that constantly you displayed. Sir, I thank the management for this opportunity and looking forward for your great success in the years to come. But not the least, the management has successfully led our institutions during this pandemic crisis. Thanks to the management for leading us successfully. Sir, you are badly missed, but we assure that we work to keep your goals alive. Thank you very much, one and all.
Thank you, Mrs. Sharda, for sharing your personal experiences and your association with Reddy, sir. Last but not the least, we have the vote of thanks being proposed by Ms. Sharanya Reddy, granddaughter of Shri U.G. Reddy, sir. Ms. Sharanya Reddy.
Good evening, one and all. I stand before you on this solemn occasion to propose the word of thanks and extend my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the Udumula family and St. Joseph's Education Society for your gracious presence during the memorial service of my grandfather, Shri U. Gregory Reddy. I cherish my close association with my grandfather, the time spent together, as I've always looked upon him as a role model in terms of being a disciplinarian. Since childhood, I knew that he was an ideal example of a family man and a firm pillar of strength to the St. Joseph's Education Society family. A leader of our family and an incredible human being who left his mark on everyone he met. I miss him a lot. Moving on, I extend my gratitude to all the dignitaries for taking us down the memory lane and sharing the memories of their association with my grandfather. I also extend my thanks to all the priests, relatives, close friends, staff, associates, caterers, and the sub-staff for making my grandfather's memorial service a memorable one. I appreciate the hard work put in by each and every one to make this solemn event a blessed one in celebration of life and end times of founder and secretary Shri Gregory Reddy. Gone forever from sight, but remain in our hearts forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharanya, for proposing the vote of thanks on behalf of the entire Udumula family. Now, it's already quite late, and I thank the audience for being so patient and listening to all the tributes patiently. Now, the sumptuous dinner is waiting for all of us, which is organized by the society and the Reddy family. I invite you all to grace the occasion, have the sumptuous meal that is organized, and relish every bit of it. Thank you for patient hearing. Thank you.